Hi everyone, welcome back to Riffs and Gigs Interviews. My name is Riley, and today I'm joined by three of the wonderful Dread Crew of Oddwood.
On a vessel made of leather, ride the ocean breeze. Against the tides of time into our destiny.
Hello, how we doing?
Excellent. Hello, everybody.
It's morning time here. I got my morning coffee. Doing good.
I had my morning coffee and my morning poop, so I'm in great shape.
Oh yeah, I definitely.
You're living your best life.
Absolutely. One drop at a time.
Very regular here at the Dread Crew of Oddwood.
That's what we're all about. That's what we're all about. Making sure that you wake up, you're well rested, ready to start the day.
Right. Well emptied.
Well emptied too. So obviously, it's been a couple of months now, but it was Heidenfest that I kind of first spoke to you guys and first saw you guys live, really as well. So kind of coming off of Heidenfest, what's it been like in the Oddwood camp?
Oh, just a giant sliding depression. Going from the highs of Heidenfest down to
The
going back
lows of
to
Lodenfest.
yeah.
Wolfbeard, it's less of a sliding depression and more of a scuttling depression, I think.
Right, scuttled downhill into the fires of the country that we currently live in. But Heidenfest was amazing, and yeah, it's definitely it's a change of pace to go back to normal life after 31 days with the crew of Heidenfest.
I'm still pretending. I'm just wearing this shirt without washing it for several weeks at a time. And it's like,
You sleep in a little cubby that you've built into the corner of your home, Draw the curtain.
Yeah. I installed hydraulics onto my bed so I can still bounce like the bus at night.
Exactly. Have you made it so that no one can poop in your toilet and there's pee everywhere?
It's like that already. I have a 6-year-old. I've also traded my white noise machine for the worst snoring sounds possible.
And somebody eating chips all night that plays out over your speaker. There is nothing funnier than somebody trying to eat chips at 2 in the morning on a tour bus.
I feel like the quieter that you try and eat them, the louder it becomes.
Was it? I forget. Maybe I put it in our group chat, but I heard that, and then I sent a clip of Peter Griffin eating the potato chips while Anne Frank was hiding. Exactly what it reminded me of.
This is going off to a great start. I love this already. Heidenfest. So, I spoke to Fabio from Trollfest a few weeks ago. So this is borderline becoming Heidenfest chat part two, which is quite fun. It's just got three more bands on the lineup to try and get to. How did you get involved with the festival then? How did that kind of land your way?
Well,
Stark, I think you got the best intel on that.
Oh, I think it was a combination of our pals in Trollfest recommending us for the tour and pestering the shit out of the person who was booking the tour over the past 5 years.
Just constant emails to David over and over and over again.
Somehow he doesn't hate us and he still hasn't quit.
even after
I'll take that as a win.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of our merch hostage now, so we're basically his indentured servants.
That was the long game. He really just wanted a year's supply of Oddwood.
As if that's not a terrible responsibility to deal with,
Man, Bordeaux found buried underneath. Anyways,
However many t-shirts.
Too many.
too many.
buy them.
Say,
They're still available. We'll get them to you somehow.
Possibly soon available in European market.
I was going to say, is there a means for people like us in UK and Europe to get a hold of these yet? Or
It is
Yeah,
possible.
I believe we're
Yeah, we
working.
allow international shipping
oh,
on our web
nice.
store, but it's just not cheap to
I imagine.
um, so it is still possible. But the goal and why we left so much with the manager in Europe is that they're hopefully going to set up an online store for us there, so people in Europe and UK can order and not pay $30 for shipping.
There's a few clothing companies I like from America, and it's always like nice t-shirts, like 20 quid shipping. Yeah.
Yeah, more than the shirt itself. Ah.
Because I thought I could have only gotten so much when I saw you guys, but I did quite like the Fruit Loops t-shirt.
Hmm.
It's it's standard, it's nice.
One of our favorites. It's not the standard metal fare, but we were proud of it.
I like the idea that a metal t-shirt can be bright and colourful.
much like our personalities.
I'm trying. I've been pushing the colored T-shirt button for a while, and everyone's like, "Nah, we don't know about this market yet."
It's risky,
Someday we'll
but
have a colored T-shirt.
I
Well,
mean, I'm saying this whilst we're all sitting here wearing very dark coloured fans t-shirts.
I got some. This is not quite black, you know.
just a logo on your chest.
yeah.
It's true. It's orange.
There's nothing else there.
Right. Exactly. Apparently, nah. Deer can't see orange, so that's why you see it. So if a deer was looking at this, it would just be nothing. It would just be arms floating.
Would that be better or worse if you were a deer and you just saw floating arms?
It's true. I guess that would be just as alarming as, a person walking around.
I feel like that needs to be answered somewhere.
I don't know the science. I've just been told. Pirates
So
hunted deer, probably.
maybe sea deer, yeah.
Sea deer.
You've got sea lions. Why don't you have sea deer?
They're around there somewhere. We just haven't found them yet.
Yes.
They got
That's
sea horses and sea cows. There
but
must
you
be
do,
sea deers.
there is sea cows, yeah.
And
There
sea
must be sea
dogs.
deers.
What would sea venison taste like?
Sea venison.
Brainy.
Oh, yeah, there's sea brisket. So
Yeah. We're I can't remember who told me this. It was either someone from work or someone else ended up having a random chat with, but someone was like, every land animal, there's a sea version. And this is what's reminding me of this conversation currently. If it, is there a sea version of every land animal? Maybe. Who knows?
We'll let you know
I
when we
would love to
find
see the sea version of a star-nosed mole.
Oh, that
Sea,
definitely exists.
yeah.
There's got to be a sea star-nosed mole. It's probably not. It probably doesn't have any milk in it, like the one we do.
Sea milk.
Sea milk, definitely.
I don't want to know what that tastes like.
It's just called semen.
So I've only just really learned that star-nosed moles have milk. I did not know that.
Well, all you can milk anything with nipples. So.
I've not been close enough to a mole to milk them, so I can't speak for that.
Mole milk. Talk about a hot merch item. Damn.
Yeah. We're doing it.
Stick
Mole
stick
bean.
stick the Oddwood label on that. Sell that at your next gig.
I know we haven't decided on a title for our next EP, and Mole Milk.
Mole milk is now a strong contender. Yeah.
The quest for mole milk,
The quest for mole milk.
and it's the greatest, most emotional song you've ever heard.
Maybe it needs to be mole butter, and then it'll be like a sequel as we keep going. Mole cheese.
Mole cheese.
Mole
KBH Mole.
And this is a masterclass on how to go on a tangent. So going back to Heidenfest, trying to steer back. Obviously, you said it was
Look.
about 30 odd shows. It was the Wolverhampton date I caught you guys on. Were there any kind of major highlights for you, or kind of any shows that stood out among the rest? Or
Most of our UK shows were great. The UK shows were really fun. Our Paris show was really great. Um, did you guys have any favorites? Like Paris is one of the standouts for me for sure. Um,
It was the best crab pot, absolutely. And then we had homemade mayonnaise before the show, which was also really fucking delicious.
it sounds like an innuendo, but he's being completely.
Or
The
was it?
catering in Paris was awesome.
But crowd wise, the UK crowds are always super fun.
Because I was trying to I was trying to check. I couldn't quite remember because I know you've not come kind of UK way too often, but when's the last time before Heidenfest?
2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a UK tour with Ailstorm back in 2018, and that was like our first introduction to those markets, like to physically be there. And we were just blown away by the crowds. I do remember our Manchester show was also really, really excellent.
So was the food.
So
The UK just gets it in terms of ridiculous pirate metal.
yeah, it's just good fun. It's a lot of fun, and sometimes that's all you need.
And cider.
Yes,
Hmm.
the two go hand in hand.
Mm.
And I guess then, with it being so long between the UK shows, it must have been nice for you guys to just kind of come back to an area that you've not been for so long to just play a bunch of shows and just have a good time.
Absolutely. Like it was super fun on the tour to be in places like, you know, um, Switzerland and Poland and Hungary and all these countries that we'd never been to before. But with that comes the fact that you've never been there before and you never know how you're going to be received. Because previously we'd just done the UK, Netherlands, Germany, and like, is it one or two shows in Belgium?
It was
One.
one.
So most of Europe was totally new to us, and of course we hadn't been able to travel like personally um, in Europe for some time. So it was an amazing experience to be in such a new market while also being like such a stark contrast to the rest of the tour.
That's
Um,
my word.
but it was a blast, and coming back to the UK, we definitely felt it right away. We were very much like, oh yes, a crowd that like not just appreciates what we do, but they have heard our name before.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool to see some old t-shirts and stuff of ours in the crowd that either they purchased online or maybe got at a previous show. Um, yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Was
we
there,
had our first show was in Tilburg, and that was nice because we knew a handful of people at the show, and it was cool to be like, ah, cool, we exist in Europe still in some capacity.
because I think that was the thing because I'd seen I think I was in a queue for another gig and someone had mentioned to me it's like oh have you seen this gig that's been announced and it was the Heidenfest shows and I was like I hadn't seen it before they told me and I looked at the poster and I was like oh nice Trollfest and Oddwood those are the two names that sold it for me.
Mm.
You
Hmm.
know I've seen Korpiklaani a couple of times both I want to say with Ailstorm but you know Trollfest ready came over this way. You guys ready? So I was like, yep, cool, sold. So it was really nice to see you on the same bill, which is
Us,
quite cool.
it's the best. Trollfest are the most fun tour buds ever, and when we were first asked to do the tour, Trollfest actually wasn't on the bill. And we were like, cool, yeah, this will be fun. And then as soon as Trollfest was announced, we were all like, yes!
Yeah, we didn't actually know until the day before the announcement, like the public announcement, we were emailed the flyer to post on our social media. And it didn't even like dawn on me while I was looking at it that Trollfest was on it initially. And I was like I was just so excited that it was going to get announced. And I was like, yeah,
Mm.
holy shit. And then I looked even closer and saw that Trollfest was on it. It's like, yes, holy shit.
That's like when you get invited to a party and you realize your friends there. You're like, finally, not alone.
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah. I mean,
put
we
up
knew
on
some of the
separate
guys in Heidevolk previously as well. We played a bunch of shows together and visited them when we were in the Netherlands. Um, But we were definitely excited to have two buds on this tour and then make a whole bunch of new ones with Finntroll and Korpiklaani.
I think that's the thing because it was. I mean, as a lineup, as a fan of that sort of music, it was just a bit of everything, which made it so much better. You know, you had you guys kicking it off. Trollfest did their flamingo stuff, and then it veered more into the kind of the heavier folk metal side of this. It was a really nice progression, and it was great to see as an audience. And I imagine for you guys as well, obviously, you know, was there a particular band that you always like enjoyed the most when you watched them, or
I mean, personally, I was so excited to be on a tour with Finntroll. Like we've been fans of Korpiklaani since day one. Like it was a big part of like what shaped our sound and our overall trajectory. But like I was just such a fanboy. It was so cool to like the first because Trollfest didn't play, or excuse me, Finntroll didn't play the first uh, few shows on the tour, and then when they joined us in Germany, it was like, okay, I'm just gonna sit out here and watch the whole set, and it was really awesome.
what about the rest of you? Did you have a standout or?
Finntroll was it for me too, and they had a fill-in singer that fucking killed it every single night. Like he may as well have just been a part of the band from the beginning. He was very entertaining to watch troll dancing around the stage. Um, yeah.
That was my takeaway because I hadn't really experienced Fintroll up until that point, and it was only about halfway through their set they were like, "This is our fill-in sing." I'm like, "You wouldn't have guessed."
He even looks the part.
He was
So I was like,
born.
Born without a shirt, you know.
Yeah, I think they were probably it for me as well. Partly because like while Trollfest was playing, we were busy doing stuff usually, so we didn't get to watch a lot of their set. Um, it's also like they're amazing, but we also did a tour with them in the North America, and so we've seen a lot of Trollfest shows. It doesn't get old, but we don't get a lot of Finntroll, and it was very exciting. And their set was awesome. Yeah, it was really, really great.
I
They definitely they went out there. They gave it 110%.
For 10.
which is what you want, and absolutely, it was everything about it was just brilliant. As a newcomer to Fintroll as well, you know, I was sold, which is what they want, so it's worked. I think what I do find, oh yeah,
No, go ahead.
oh,
Excuse me.
I think what I do find quite interesting with you guys is obviously it's the acoustic stuff. You know, it's you could very easily have heavy distortion, heavy of that, but you've gone for the more traditional instruments. Was that always the plan?
When the band very first started, that's all we did is we just did acoustic shows. Like we uh, we lacked the technology at a certain point to amplify everything. I remember we used to have a concertinist, like the small accordion, the and getting believe it or not, you cannot buy an electric concertina anywhere in the world. So I remember trying to rig microphones onto one of those back in the day, and it was always an absolute nightmare. But we have spent a lot of time making sure that we have instruments that faithfully reproduce the acoustic sound through amplification, and that has been an adventure. But yes, we have always been all acoustic. We have always been all folk instruments, and that has been our weakness and our edge simultaneously ever since the dawn of the band.
I was gonna say it's one of those things that really helps stand you apart because obviously lyrically, you know, there is a lot of kind of ailstormness in the content of your songs, and so you know you could very easily fall into that space of being oh just another pirate metal band, but because you've got that acoustic recreation, it kind of gives you guys that edge, like you said. Have you got any kind of bands that are major influences or inspirations when it comes to kind of the songwriting or the performance?
Um, we obviously, as I mentioned before, like we when we were young, like listening to folk metal bands like Korpiklaani, like Elwaiti, like those absolutely influenced our songwriting choices. But everyone in the band has a little bit of a different taste in music, and while we do try to write in the same vein as some of those like heavier influences, metal influences, I mean, like I wrote a song that was like inspired by punk band legend Rancid, like back in the day, and we've always tried to mesh that with traditional instrumentation and orchestration as well.
Yeah.
So, like, as much as the songwriting choices are inspired by some of our favorite metal bands, our arranging choices are much more traditional until you get to the double kick, weird ass kick drum set, of course, because our drum set is pretty non-standard as well, and yeah, it's just like a style that we've been honing and allowing it to grow while keeping the sort of heart that we had back in the day. Because like the original sort of inspiration for our drum sound was like you wanted this to be something that you could hear like on a battlefield. So you have like this giant, instead of having like a traditional snare, you've got like this tom with a snare rig to the top of it, and most of the beats live on that and a tambourine versus kick hat snare.
Mm.
But yeah, it's a complicated answer, and I hope I'm making this interesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
Influence wise for me, like I mostly listen to a lot of like every subgenre of heavy metal. I don't just listen to folk metal or power metal. I love super technical death metal and brutal stuff, and I also listen to a lot of traditional Irish music. And so I usually just have all of my liked songs or whatever my playlist is that I'm listening to on shuffle. And when I hear something that I'm like, oh fuck yeah, like I'll usually make a little note of like I want to do something similar to this, like in a riff or a song, or just like be inspired by this thing that just like kicks total ass. I'd say I've been influenced a lot by like Children of Bodom, In Flames, Decapitated, all of those sort of like riff styles and melodies.
One of the not quite title track off of Lawful Evil was inspired by Revocation. So yeah, we try to take a little bit of everything.
And here I thought the main influence for our songwriting was our own egos.
That's the second main inspiration.
Right.
I
That's
can
got to do
comment
both.
on the performance part of it. I can say Deckard and I definitely share an influence or inspiration in our live performance from the original bass player and pipe flute player from L80, because they were always the rulers on stage, and everybody knows it.
If you're not
That's
running
the,
around doing stage antics, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
Unless you're
that's
unable to, and then that's fine.
if you have reasons and you genuinely can't, that's fine. If you don't, what you're playing at.
Every once in a while, you see a band that's just so tight that it's okay that they're just standing there looking like badasses. But we don't do that here at the Dread Crew of Oddwood. We're tripping over each other and jumping off of things and eating shit all show long.
That's because we're not tight.
That's sometimes true.
It's nicer when your own bandmate says it. Or not.
We are the
No, it's
loose.
not a secret. All you need to go is go see an Oddwood show and make the assessment yourself.
I dare you. Go find a live performance of ours and point out one wrong note. I dare you.
Never. Not one mistake.
All too or long.
It's like those videos that occasionally pop up on my Instagram. It's like, how many mistakes are you going to make? I'm going to make none. And then it cuts to like a freeze frame of them after, just like, this person made 10 mistakes.
But if you have a lot of notes, sometimes people don't notice the mistakes. So
Precisely. And
And
if you
if
play,
all those I was going to say, if all those mistakes are on purpose, then they're not mistakes.
if
What
you're
jazz
also
is.
playing if you're also playing to new audiences who don't know your music, how are they going to know if you've played a wrong note?
Exactly. And here at the Dread Crew of Oddwood, if you make a mistake while your feet are in the air, it's not a mistake. So
and
all
how
those are forgiven.
and how many times are your feet in the air?
We levitate. for 35 minutes.
At least 3 times. At least 3 times every set. I'd like to think a lot more than that, but very minimum 3 times.
See, I now understand it might be jumping or something, but my initial thought was just one of you doing headstands.
God, that would be sick, wouldn't it?
um, going back to the songs and the songwriting, have you got a favorite song that you've written, or one that you're like, yeah, this is what Oddwood's all about?
I mean, it's hard to pin down one. Because we definitely have. I like to think that we have like a few dynamics that we try to hit in every album. Like we're obviously staying true to like the pirate instrumentation and like the feel of like that classic folk, while bringing the energy of heavy metal and punk and whatever is between. Um, but I like to think that we try to do like a more traditional sounding song, like a faster, more traditional sounding song. Um, that like sort of harks back to either like a literature reference or a historical reference. And then we try to do shit that's just like fuck you, blast beats, we're pirates. And so like it's hard to give one, but I think Lawful Evil, that song contains elements of both of those influences while having like a sort of more complicated sort of metal inspired breakdown. And then you've got songs like Dead Man's Medley, where it's just straight traditional the whole time. We're spouting lyrics inspired by Robert Louis Stevenson, and then of course we've got slow songs that we never play because our sets are never long enough to play slow songs.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
Someday.
And I guess
The
kind
song
of
that comes to mind for me, again, just like my own library was on shuffle this past weekend, and Evil Tide came up, and it's a song that I don't think we've ever performed it live, and I don't listen to our own stuff all that often, so I hadn't heard it in a while, and I was just like really appreciating how fucking awesome that song is. So
That's
currently,
definitely going to be in our next set. That's definitely going to be in our next set.
Yeah, once we have enough time.
Which we will for our festival show this summer.
you can make the time for it. The best part is when I do upload just the audio for that part's going to be completely lost. That'll just be a long silence.
Wait, let me do it again. Eyebrows, 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 eyebrows.
Slow zoom. That leads me to my next point and my last question for you guys, cautious of time. Obviously, Heidenfest, kicked the year off uh, to bang. You've just hinted at something with the eyebrows. What does the rest of the year look like that you're allowed to kind of talk about currently?
Well, we know that your listener base is, more of a UK based audience. But we do have a festival show in the United States coming up this summer that was just announced, and we're very excited to take part in that. And I'm going to find it on my calendar any second now and know exactly. And it's on August 15th, Mile High Power Fest in Colorado. And we're super excited for that because we're headlining the festival.
Oh,
And
excellent.
we get to have a bit of a longer set so we can throw songs like the slow song into it. And there might even be more than that for our North American audiences to get excited about.
We're considering doing a North American tour celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Lawful Evil, but we haven't decided whether or not we like the world enough to do it.
Or if we'll be alive at that point.
It's a perfectly valid reason.
That's months from now.
Anything could happen.
Anything could happen.
And I guess on the music front, is there any kind of new music in the pipeline, or
Yeah, I think we
is it
can
just
officially talk about this. We've got an EP that we've been working on for a long time. And we're in the very final stages of that EP. It's all recorded and mixed, and we're just figuring out mastering and distribution. But globally, people will be able to enjoy a few new Oddwood songs in the near future. We don't have a release date yet, but it will, with 100% certainty, be this year.
You're in the. This is going to make no sense because this was a conversation before we started recording, but you're in the critical stage.
We're in the critical stage.
The singular critical stage of album production.
We're in the stage where we'd love somebody else to do it for us.
Yeah. Isn't that just every album production stage?
Yeah, once you listen to like songs like 1,000 times, you're like, I have no ability to judge whether or not this has any quality anymore. Can somebody else just make this happen now?
Can someone tell me the difference between final, 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 and final, 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 please?
Yeah,
Exactly.
underscore too.
Underscore do not delete.
I try not to think about it too much because I know as soon as the new music is released, I will hate all of it and want to just write new music again. Like that's how it is for me every time. I mean, I don't actually hate it, but it's like, yeah, I would have done so many things differently, and then I go write new things that I'm really excited about, and then I can hate them all over again when those are
The
released.
cycle continues.
Yeah.
It's a never-ending cycle. There you go, bands. That's what being in a band is like.
Self-hatred.
A lot more fart smell, but you know.
But no, honestly, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here and chat. I know it's just about midday-ish for you guys, so it's not always easy.
No,
But
it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having us.
massively appreciate it, and I look forward to hearing these new songs once the critical stage is finished.
2 to 10, or even more. It'll be an EP. It won't be a full album, but it'll be a good romp and fun to listen to. I promise that.
That's the important thing. They're all back now. They're all back now.
I didn't know we weren't done.
But no, thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Cheers.
Yeah, you do. Rock on.